have a wonderful gentleman joining us on the couch this morning. His name is Daniel Kenrick. He is a Korean War veteran. His story will be one of the newest stories to be added to the Memory Project, which is a collection of just over 600 wartime testimonials that has been put together since last November. So great that we'll have the full edition of your story to be shared with the Memory Project. We only have a couple of minutes to be able to share your experiences. You were actually with the Korean War, and this was something that you were passionate about being involved in. And can you go through some of the story as to how you got involved with the Navy?
Well, I was in the Merchant Navy before the ship I was on burnt in Toronto Harbor, so I joined the Navy just a couple of months later, and I ended up in Korea after watching the first 3 destroyers leave Naden.
Which was out west.
Which is out west.
You were out west, 3 ships left.
Right, to go to Korea. And then I thought, well, there goes my chance to go. And I went to back to my home coast, the East Coast, and I sailed on various ships. And then in '53, they posted me on to the Huron, HMCS Huron. And I was on my way to Korea.
Now, the story gets incredibly interesting because in July of 1953, something awoke you from your sleep, and life changed, and your experience with the Korean War definitely changed.
Sure did. Yeah, we were going inland because an island that was UN held in a strategic position in the enemy territory was being bombed or shelled by the Reds, or the Koreans. And we were going in to offset this, and we ended up running aground on the island at just after midnight on the 13th of July.
You were actually sent down to discover what had happened.
Yeah, the engineering officer sent me down to assess what was going on below, and I went down, and I'll never forget looking at the black water and the black rocks all punched right in through the hull of the ship on the front, on the bow.
You run up and you tell your commanding officer exactly what's going on, and then what happens? I mean, here you are in the dead of night, aground on an island in enemy territory.
Well, it was lucky there was, thank God, the fog, a heavy fog, and the land batteries couldn't see us. So we had to wait until high tide come in and lifted us enough that we got the engines, with our own engines, pulled one and then the other, pulled ourselves off the rocks, and then moved around behind the island so the enemy couldn't get at us.
This happened around midnight. By around 4 o'clock in the morning, you said you were able to slowly inch your way back around backwards. And you said that there was something amazing that happened, or this sense, because at that point you knew that there had been other ships.
We thought we were alone, and we ended up finding out while we were working to get ourselves off that the UN flotilla and aircraft formed what they call an umbrella around us, and if the enemy had started firing at us, they would have been hit with an awful barrage of fire from both the aircraft and the other ships.
What did that sensation feel like, knowing that you had this umbrella around you?
Fantastic to think that you're supported. That's what the South Koreans must have felt by us being there to support them.
Here's a couple of pictures right there. Now, the interesting part was, and this is what I find fascinating, you actually had to head back in reverse.
Astern, because the plates on the front of the ship were torn back, and by going ahead, they were pulling the plates back further, and that would have got worse. We would have got more water in. So we had to go all the way to Stern from North Korea to Sasebo, Japan. To
go that way, that direction, back to Japan. You get to share these stories with kids, with schools. What's that like for you?
It's interesting. It's interesting to hear their comments and questions. We were at a Girl Guide group on Wednesday night, and that's the first time I've talked to 26 girls all at once, and it was interesting. Their questions about what happened and why and this isn't good.
This is fascinating. Very quickly, I have like 10 seconds. You'll be meeting with some fellow Korean War veterans, some that you actually were on the ship with, tomorrow night.
Yes.
And you're going to do that at City Hall.
At City Hall at 8 o'clock.
And then at 9 o'clock, you'll have a ceremony, because that will be at 11 a.m.
in South Korea. And it's a remembrance where we're remembering them and they're remembering us.
It is a pleasure to talk to you. Fascinating story. Thank you. I know
Thank
right
you.
now, you start that brings tears to your eyes, and I think for a lot of people as well, we'll be remembering stories like that for sure. And keep in mind, you'll be able to listen and hear Daniel's story. He will be a part of the Memory Project, his story amongst 600 plus others. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne.